This is Larry the Barber Man, and today I'm at the Irish Barber Expo 2018. I have the privilege of being here with Ramsey, aka Ramsey, of the Outpost Barber Company. So today, Ramsey, we're here to learn your story. I view you as one of the best up-and-coming barbers there is out there right now. That's why I wanted to interview you. You've got quite a unique approach to haircutting and photography, and lots of people want to know how you put all this together. So that's my job here at Larry the Barber Man, to find out how you put it all together. But without further ado, let's get started. You're 26 years old, you've had 6 years experience, you've been licensed for 2 years, you opened your own barbershop immediately after graduating or becoming licensed. So in your own words, tell me where you started in barbering.
I started barbering at my mom's house in the garage roughly 6 years ago, and college wasn't the route that I was going to go. I wasn't about to get to sit down, and I can't be lectured and sit there, and my attention span is just not there to sit there and get spoken to for hours upon hours. So that being said, I was always into getting myself a good haircut. I knew what it took to have a nice fade, a nice overall image. So I wanted to further that, because I also come from an artistic background. I've been drawing since I was 5 years old. So I always admired shading and the realism behind art. And I think that directly correlates with like a good skin fade, understanding the shades and the proportions of everything. So I just started going to the barbershop. I would sit there for hours, watch my buddy cut hair. He would give me tips on the trade. And then I told him one day, I said, I really want to get serious with this. So I want to take this to the next level. So what he did was, my boy Kamal, he gave me my first barber chair and my first mirror, and I drove home my little Honda Civic. As soon as I got home, I ran downstairs to the basement, set everything up. I had an old vacuum cleaner box holding a lamp. I had an old dresser with an old TV with Xbox so I could play FIFA with my boys, and set everything up, and I started doing my first haircuts downstairs for free.
And then you progressed on to $3 haircuts, I believe.
$5, and then $10, and then I ended up going 15, 20, and upwards from there.
So where was the turning point where you thought, I'm earning all this money downstairs in my mum's basement and at the barber shop? When was the point where you thought to yourself, I need to get serious, I need to get licensed?
I knew staying down there, it was going to limit my clientele. If I stayed down in my basement, I don't want to bring a professional, a doctor, a lawyer, whoever it may be. I started cutting my buddies who at the age were 18 to 20 years old, and they'd go home and their dad would ask them where they got their haircut, and it would be in my basement. And I don't feel comfortable bringing professionals into my home while I'm cutting hair in the basement. It was just kind of like a friendly thing with my friends, you know what I mean? So I knew at that point it was time to get into a professional environment and offer real structured services.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about the Outpost Barbershop company that you opened 2 years immediately after licensing. Tell me a little bit about the experience, the decor, what a client can expect when they come to you.
Well, I opened up the shop with my buddy Sean shortly after working at the small salon that I was at. He stopped working at a barbershop that he was at, and we both got together. We're both from the same town, same high school, and we thought it was a good idea to control your own career. Why work for someone else when you can work for yourself? So we got together. We opened up the store with it's got 2 large storefront windows, very warm vibes, classic tin ceilings. There's hardwood floors all the way down, and the lighting we went with a warmer light, so it almost feels like you're walking into your own house. It's very inviting and very warm. And then we progressed from there. We got all old school barber chairs, the oldest chair being from 1895. My chair I use an Emile Perdar, and it's from 1920. And we just wanted to go with the like a modern style, but with the detail in what's the word I'm looking for?
You wanted to go modern, but have that real vintage.
Yes, character.
Yeah, character.
The vintage items have so much character in them, and there's so much fine detail. And I think that correlates with haircutting as well. There's classic styles. Everything is always recycled, but just tinkered with slightly.
And would you say that's a reflection of your own haircutting styling, let's say?
I would say so.
Okay. So another thing that, you're blowing people away with right now is your photography. So I'm quite kind of keen to learn where you started, the absolute beginning of your photography skills.
I started with an iPhone 4, and what happened was every time a new iPhone would come out, I would go buy the new iPhone because I thought the camera would be better. And I remember seeing, when I first started cutting hair, Patty cuts was through the roof. And I always noticed how his images were so crisp, the haircut was so crisp, but the background was blown away. So I was like, how do I do that? So I kept using the new iPhone, and what I did was I would edit the background and blur it out myself. But it didn't look good. But at the time it was just what I had and the only thing I knew. So then I started progressing more and more, and I bought myself a Sony a6300 with a 50mm prime lens and a f-stop of 1.8. And that f-stop is what gives you that background blur. And being so used to the iPhone, I would say you almost have to be a better photographer on an iPhone than you have to be on a regular camera because of the way the aspect ratio is on the actual image itself and the roundness of the lens.
Yeah, because the wider the lens is, when you've got wide angles, you're always at risk of distorting on the edges.
Yes.
So you have to try and keep the image tight into the center.
Exactly.
And then, crop it that way.
Especially in portrait photography, you don't want to exaggerate someone's face in any way. You want it to be true to how the eye picks it up. And that's where the 50mm comes into play, and you can be far away, you can be up close. Doesn't matter, you're going to create the image that you want to create.
Okay, so I guess the kind of elephant in the room is, what is your approach from start to finish with your photography to get or attain the images that you do? I look at your images and they're, for me, half fashion, half lifestyle. You look like you like a lot of natural light going on, finding natural light. Tell me your approach, let's say your approach to haircutting, because I believe you've got your own unique approach to every haircut that you do. Let's start there.
Well, with my haircuts, I like to start with a solid foundation. I section every haircut off. I like to comb the hair in the exact direction that the hair wants to fall naturally. So if the client goes home and doesn't blow dry their hair and apply a lot of product, the hair can still fall cleanly and it can still be a well aesthetically pleasing haircut. So that being said, from that structure, the first section I put in the hair is going to be my blueprint for the rest of the product. The profile. So what I'll do is, from there, I try to read the person's vibe. I look at their eyes, look at their features, I look how they dress, I ask them what they like to do, and I get a vibe for how they're gonna dress in real life because I want that haircut to be tailored to their lifestyle. So after I complete the haircut, I bring the client outside and I look around. I always try to find colors that will complement like whatever they're wearing. So I'll look around, see if someone's got like a blue shirt on and I really want the photo to pop. I'll get something in the background that's red, so it really brings your eye to the photo itself. And then from there, I'll walk around the area that I'm in and I'll try to find the best lighting that's around. Whether if it's an edgy picture, a lot of shadow over the face, a lot of more dark emotion. And if it's something more of like business professional, it's more perky, more upright, and very structured.
Okay. And I believe in your approach, by your own admission, you're not that technically, educated with the camera. You tend to work on trial and error and you're searching for that most aesthetically pleasing position of that particular subject.
Yes.
You're also searching for the best light. Tell me in your own words about how you kind of go about searching for this aesthetically pleasing image that will pop.
What I do is I always follow the rule of trying to be eye level with the subject. That's the first picture I always take is whatever I want to show the viewer, I get eye level with it. So it gives a bit of a cinematic approach. It'll make the viewer really focus on what you want them to focus on. Their eye won't be dragged off to the street sign in the background or, the stoplight in the background. Their eye is going directly towards the product that you're trying to sell.
So human perspective as well.
Exactly. So it's a little bit of almost like psychology and understanding how the human eye works with everything. In my city, it's a very historical city. We have a lot of brownstone buildings. So we have an alleyway right next to my barber shop. And what it does is it diffuses the light. So midday sun, it's really hard with my 50 millimeter prime to get the correct lighting without blowing the picture out and making it look, not as clear to the viewer. So we go in, I usually start with the alleyway. I'll get a brick background portrait. And then from there, I'll walk around, I'll walk up and down the street and see where the light is diffused, but also I can get good lighting on the side. If the person has a skin fade, I want the skin fade to be illuminated, and I want to be able to see the texture up top, but I don't want everything to be the same shade of light. I want depth, and I want to have a decent dynamic range on my photos.
Okay, and is it fair to say that you kind of structure your haircuts not only to make them look good on the client's hair and head, but also so it pops on camera?
Exactly.
What are some of the kind of ninja tricks that you have to alter from a conventional haircut in order for this to take place?
I wouldn't say that there's too many tricks. I would say it's just being very precise with your work. Make sure your sections are clean, make sure your cutting lines are clean, make sure your fade is clean. Best thing to do is I would recommend is take out your iPhone after you get done with the fade and look at the fade through the iPhone. It tells no lies. You'll see any blemishes, any shadows, any dips in the head that you need to account for and create a lighter shade in that area. And then from there, I'll bring it outside because if it looks good on the iPhone, the camera itself is gonna look beautiful.
So you're using your iPhone as a Polaroid, essentially.
Yeah. Yep.
Essentially.
It's my rough draft.
Yeah.
I'll look at the haircut through there, and if it looks good on there, usually it's going to look good on the Sony.
Okay. So I first met you at the CT Barber Expo 2017-18. You're kind of making your way as a platform artist. Tell me what you do as a platform artist when on stage at Barber Expos.
I like to explain pretty much what we're talking about right now. How a haircut is not only just a haircut. You're going to further the person's image. You almost change their facial features by how you cut their hair. So you can really change someone's life by giving them a taper around the ear. And they walk out of that barbershop feeling like the man. So before they put on their suit to go to their interview, you already pretty much got them the job with their confidence boost. That's what I like the most. And then furthering that is I'll tell the client to wear their suit to the shop. I'll just make sure we don't get any hair inside of it. Hopefully not. So, and then we'll go outside and I'll take a picture of them. They can use it on their job resume or some type of professional Indeed, online getting a job. And I'll do that for them and to encompass the overall image to give them a style. And what that does is it crosses over from haircutting to fashion and photography all in one.
Okay, so there's quite a strong consultation going on with you creating your end image, A, to please you, and B, to please the client as well.
Exactly.
So consultation is a key component of your success as
It's
well.
the biggest part of the haircut. Because I can create a haircut and image that, 2,000 people love on Instagram, but do you love it as the client? That's what matters.
So Instagram is not bread and butter. Bums on seats in your shop and money going for your cash register is why you're there.
Exactly. But the client comes first. The picture is extra. If I can get a picture of your haircut, that's great. But if not, you don't want to be on camera, that's awesome. Good luck, I'll be here next week.
And people can look at your work at, where are you on Instagram? Your name.
Z_Ramsey.
Is there anywhere else your work is showcased?
I just showcase on Instagram. I keep it right to there, and once in a while I'll share it to Facebook, but I try to really focus on the one platform. That's where my strengths lie, and that's where most of my viewers are. Instagram is obviously image-based, and that's what I put out.
Okay, so in closing, words of advice to that young barber that was, that is maybe 16, 17, 18. You've achieved what you have in 6 years. What would be your words of advice to him? Where could he start? What? what potential pitfalls, what would be your advice to them?
I would say it starts from the heart. You have to be into it. You have to be passionate about it. The information's out there. Pick it apart. Be observant. And make sure you take every single haircut and break it down to a cause and effect. Each stroke of the clipper, tinker with the angle of the blade. Feel the different pressures. Each person's head is different. So taking note of all these different hair textures, hair types, growth patterns, cutting styles, and techniques will make you a better barber, and it will also make you a better hairstylist to cater to each individual client, because no one's the same. And with the photography, I would say get out there and shoot, just like anybody says. You have to take pictures. You have to see pictures that you don't like to understand what you do like. Get different angles, get on the ground, get dirty. There's times I'm laying on my belly in the middle of a street looking weird like a walrus, and I don't care. I just want the picture. And I'll get up, dust myself off, and go do another haircut. And then my next 10 clients are asking me if I just slid head first into second base. You know, I'm like, yeah, I did. I got the picture.
I was in search of excellence.
I was, and I don't always get it. Sometimes I take 150 pictures and like one of them. You know, sometimes you don't get any. But I think that
learn from every single click of the shutter though.
Every
when
single.
you go back and review, and that, I guess that has been another, important part of your progression. Is after you've taken all these pictures, take time to review them.
Always. Always.
What did I do right? What did I do better? What did I do
too.
wrong? What did I do better? Continuously.
Self-assess your work. Don't be hard on other people's work. Be hard on yourself. Because you want to get yourself better. It doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. It doesn't matter if every single barber in your hometown is Instagram savage, famous, whatever it may be. Compete with yourself. Once in a while, look up to see what's going on, but keep your head down and keep working on yourself, and you'll notice that at the end of the day, you're going to be where you're at.
Mr. Ramsey, thank you ever so much for giving me your take on barbering, on how you achieve the images that you do, and I wish you every success in the future.
Thank you, Larry. Appreciate it.